Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Nice
You're
to
acting
see
very
you.
weird.
Yeah, nice
Would you
to
like
see
to
you too.
explain to everybody why you're acting like that?
No, I've acted.
Strangest things going on
Okay.
in the studio.
Yeah.
Charlie.
Well,
I've just been seeing whether I can apply for some scholarships. You know,
Where do you want to study?
I think I'll go to Swansea.
Swansea.
Yeah,
Are you needy?
I think so. So far as studying abroad.
Oh,
If it's
yeah.
local, I can afford.
But
abroad, I
abroad
can't
you are
afford.
needy.
oh, but the minister in consult, is it Get Fund you're targeting?
Yeah, get fun.
Okay. The minister in consultation with them, they can decide and push you somewhere. You know,
Perhaps your education
it is
would
possible.
further the course of education in Ghana.
My education will further the cause of
Then you come back.
humanity of Ghana.
But you come back, or
Oh, as for me, when I finish, no,
you come back.
there's too much business to do in Ghana.
Yeah. Really doesn't even matter
So you are
when you come
needy.
back.
As for brilliant, we know you are brilliant.
Please, let's put it into perspective. I'm saying that when it comes to paying fees, when I get an admission outside,
You will be needy.
Outside Ghana, I am needy.
No, we are all
okay.
needy.
Because every church school fees they mean yeah. But local KUST, University of Ghana.
And now you can pay.
Now I can pay.
Yeah.
But every church, once it's pounds,
Foreign
dollars,
needy.
I'm needy.
Foreign needy. Well, I'm sure you know where we're going with this, right? There's still plenty more questions that we've been asking on this this whole scholarship thing, but it also brings out a lot of issues that we need to take time to address. A lot of loopholes in that law that clearly is being taken advantage of. Yeah.
Is that a loophole? I think the law.
Yes,
Wherever
you know.
there is discretion, you know, we always have to pay attention to how it's used. But in this case, the law is worded in a certain way that allows so much discretion, such broad discretion.
Yeah.
So there's no way of accounting for how that discretion is used. The thing says, I'll read the law to you, but it says that basically anything that the minister in consultation with the board of trustees thinks
Which is not wrong.
will further the course of education,
Yeah.
they can pay for
I
it.
is
don't
not
think
wrong.
it is wrong at
So
all.
if they
not-
decide,
wrong.
that you know a party in East Legon will further the course of education, they can fund it.
Oh, I think that's going to the
Why would that
extremities.
be extreme?
Yeah, because it's not related to education.
But if they can pay for someone to go for a conference or to go for training in military,
But that
in
is education.
defense,
That is, you're being educated.
so how does it further the course of education in Ghana?
You also, I mean, you contribute meaningfully in your role in debate. Let's say, and I'm sure you're talking about the parliamentary, in debate, for example, on security, education, and all.
Yeah,
How does
and
that
critiquing and, you know, because the executive will bring
So you-
things to parliament. And if you have no idea,
And
no
if,
training
and if you're an
in that
MP, for
area,
example, you may
so you
belong
can-
to the
Yeah.
Committee on Education. Could be
Yes.
the, yeah, so...
So,
I mean,
so why
yeah.
didn't why then they should have paid for every MP to go for that training?
Oh,
But they
said there
don't
are
pay
multiple
for... But they don't pay
places
for...
where you can source.
But they don't pay for every
if you're smart
needy
enough
student.
and
So the MPs are.
what's your problem right now?
Thing themselves. I'm sorry.
Mr. Aston, what's your
You
problem?
people, you haven't missed me.
Bring your application. Whom you know, we'll connect you. What do you want to do? PhD.
Oh, you sort me out. I want to go.
We will link you.
I want to become Professor Emeritus and get fun.
Aye. All right,
But-
listen, guys. We have to do the newspapers.
Yeah.
All right, okay. I have the Ghanaian Times and the Daily Statesman.
Have the Daily Guide and then Daily Dispatch.
Now do the graphic and the finder.
All right.
Yeah.
So ladies first.
All right, the Daily Graphic newspaper, the shoot front page. Foreign Asingbe re-elected. That's his fourth term as president of Togo. Dormant companies will be expunged, Registrar General saying that. Mrs. Jemima Owari is the Registrar General. PRESEC confers award on Speaker. Collapsed savings and loans companies processes to pay customers begin. So customers of collapsed saving and loans, as well as microfinance institutions, also known as special deposit taking institutions, can now heave a sigh of relief following the initiation of a process to pay the full amounts of their deposits to them. The receiver and official liquidator of the defunct SDI started the process yesterday after the Ministry of Finance had announced that 5 billion Ghana cedis will be released to Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited to be used to settle the deposit of the customers. Also, Auditor General to surcharge Get Fund and get fund beneficiaries over scholarship awards. So this issue certainly is not going away. Let's check this angle on page 16 in the Daily Graphic newspaper. It says the Auditor General intends to surcharge persons involved in scholarship awards and also disallow expenditure items of the Get Fund Secretariat in accordance with Article 1877B of its mandate. This follows recommendations by the Auditor General after faulting the Get Fund for not being fair in the award of scholarships to those in need. The Auditor General has also accused the Secretariat of not instituting a robust selection process, leading to the haphazard granting of scholarships to Ghanaians to the detriment of those who really need them. So as part of the recommendations, the report said the Auditor General may disallow the expenditures by Get Fund Secretariat in the management of foreign scholarships, which he deems were contrary to law, and surcharge the persons involved. What you guys think?
Well, I mean,
that would mean they're paying back what we give them.
Yes. So yeah, this is if the Auditor General determines that certain monies spent on scholarships were wrongly spent. So it may not be about the individuals. It may be about how the institution spent the money. Because you know, from 2012, 2013, 2014, each of these years, they spent over 300% of their budget on scholarships. Over 300%. So over 3 times how much they were supposed to. And then in 2015, 2016, 2018, they spent over 100%. In 2017, they spent about 60% more. So each year they overspent, but by different amounts. You know, so there might be a disallowance or a surcharge on the basis that you gave out scholarships when you couldn't afford them, and you may have, you know, cost the state money that they couldn't afford to spend. For that reason, I'm surcharging you. It may not necessarily be that you gave a scholarship to this person, and I, Auditor General, think you shouldn't have given that person a scholarship, therefore bring the money back. I don't know if it's going to be like that. I expect it to be more the other way. Like,
you see, looking at the formal communication coming from the Auditor General's department, it is that the surcharge will be on the institution. Then the Auditor General, based on the law that emboldens him to take those decisions, will make the decision as to whether individuals could be held culpable. But the surcharge, we do know after this audit report, is on the institution as a whole.
Now, this is the law that we were talking about earlier. It's section 2, subsection 2E of the Get Fund Act 2000, which is Act 518.
581.
Yes. And it says, and I quote, one of the purposes of the Get Fund is to provide, this is the E, to provide money to support such other educational activities and programs for the promotion of education, as the minister in consultation with the board may determine. Okay, so it says to support other educational activities and programs. So these educational activities, in this case, what they are saying is that they decided that scholarships, more scholarships, is an educational activity or a program. So they've decided that these are necessary for the promotion of education. You know, so that's the argument that we are hearing from the current administration, as in the Ministry of Education, for these extra or these other scholarships. But let's be clear, I mean, the Get Fund is not only for needy and brilliant students. That may be that may be supposed to be its core service group, but it's also for the furtherance of. So if, for example, a lecturer, professor, or a doctor needs to go and study something more so he can come back and be a better lecturer, Get Fund funds a lot of that sort of education. But it's just some of the ones that we've seen that are of interest. I mean, so paying for someone to go to Georgetown University, you have to ask yourself, how will that come back and further education here? Is this person a lecturer or a teacher or something? Are they coming back to come and do something in the education sector which can only be learned at Georgetown University? Georgetown University is one of the top universities in the world, Ivy League school. And someone had Get Fund pay almost $60,000 for them to go to Georgetown University.
We'll take you to Georgetown. Let's do the finder. Let's do the finder real quick. Front page. High cost of raw materials tops challenges facing agriculture, industry and services businesses. CBG sets out modalities for payment of depositors. Ex-government officials in Airbus scandal must submit for questioning. That's according to the Deputy AG. Get Funds spends 425.6 million Ghana cedis on scholarships for 3,112 beneficiaries from 2012 to 2018. All right, guys.
Okay, shall I go next?
Yeah, you sure?
I've got the Times and the Statesman, so I'll start with the Times. Banner headline, locked up funds in defunct savings and loans companies. Government releases 5 billion Ghana cedis to pay customers, but depositors yet to have access to funds. Details are on page 17. President and Norwegian Premier vowed to deepen Ghana and Norway ties. Father jailed 20 years for impregnating daughter. Auditor General indicts Get Fund for breaching object of fund, and that's the story we've been talking about. On the back page this morning of the Ghanaian Times, Legon cities thrash inter-allies. Wow, a nice win for Legon cities there. They've certainly been making a lot of noise in the Premiership. Nice to see them win.
My team of the moment is Asokwa Deportivo. Yeah, man. Asokwa Deportivo.
Just because
they hammered Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Send them out of the FA Cup. That's it.
what a
Besides, they are not even in the top league.
what a way to support a team. Asokwa Deportivo.
Good morning to Asokwa Deportivo.
Or Sokwadep. All right, I know Walker passes first test. Guys Olympics to beat Mighty Jets. All right, I'll do the Statesman real quick. Alex Mould under fire over dishonest comments about ACA Energy and AGM agreements. Your investments are safe in Ghana, President assures Norwegian company. And court orders Kevin Taylor to pay Isankuma 2.95 million Ghana cedis damages. Have you noticed his responses on social media? Yeah. Okay. With all due respect. Okay, Premier League starts. Man City penalty woes and Aubameyang's goal return. Welcome back. Victorian Adebayo close to joining Hearts of Oak. That's nice. And that's me.
Roland?
Yeah, okay, let's go to the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Has on the front page, EC's decision to compile a new voters register makes a lot of sense, the president says.
No way.
It's on the back page of the paper. That's the story also tells you about we're getting ourselves ready for December, the president is saying. And I think it makes a lot of sense. The national census itself is done on a 10-year basis. So it makes sense that we keep
8 years.
The EC to many new people. Take out all
how
those.
the president speaks.
Other stories on the front page of the Dispatch. Arthur Kennedy on travel health. Yeah, he's transitioned into the world of his practice, away from politics.
Wait, hang on. Like, what does it mean?
I'm sure it's related to the caution of travelers, you know, in the midst of the outbreak of the coronavirus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For real?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
You're surprised he's not making political commentary. A lot of surprises these
No
days.
comment. Just move
In
on.
the midst of things that we need to get educated about in sponsorship. I will win my second term at Ewutu Senya West, Georgianda, and Obeda Samoa on 1992, 96, and 2000 elections. Again, coiled from his book, but the 17 times NDC and MPP had walked out of parliament since 1993. Oh, 92. Yeah. Should be from 93, I think. Parliament started in 93. Now, we had the first incident recorded in 2003. Another incident in 2005, and then takes you up to the latest one. Okay.
But I thought for the entirety of 93 to 96, they were on a permanent walkout.
Yeah.
Or that one would be inside.
They decided not to participate in. Well, so let's go to the Daily Guide newspaper. Has on the front page, MPP and DC clash over scholarships. I love the headline of the Daily Guide. It says disappointment claim, no funding, get fund reacts. And the reaction had been coming thick and fast since the night of Sunday. Ghana opens embassy in Norway, and our lead correspondent at the presidency, Elton Brobe, had reported that since there was a brouhaha about acquiring a permanent chancery, we decided to now go and rent another one because the brouhaha was just too much. We needed a place to operate. Facebook boy slapped with 2.95 Ghana cedis for defamation. And then we do have the back page stories. Malik begs for Kunedu, Ebola fears, and then Chinese Ebola fears. They're talking about coronavirus. And then Hazard is out for the season. You know, I had a soothsayer here in Accra telling me I should message him on Twitter.
There's a protocol you didn't read.
Not to leave Chelsea to Real Madrid. Where's the protocol? I can't see it. We have AJ versus Fury will happen. So now I can see it. Protocol had to apply for UK versus ahead of. There's a big match now taking place in the UK. We don't know that. Okay.
All right. Well, so you know, this money that's been released to pay the customers. It's been over a year.
Microfinance savings and loans?
Are any of those institutions owing you?
No,
okay.
none of the savings and loans companies. And I didn't save with any of the banks that got closed down either. But, you know, somebody in government said that the reason why government has agreed to pay all of these institutions, including DKM, is because they were all regulated institutions. Unlike Men's Gold, which, as far as they're concerned, was not a regulated institution. That's an interesting distinction. I don't know what you guys think about it, because the reason why Men's Gold got shut down was because of regulation. SEC suddenly woke up one day and said, oh, we should have been regulating this institution, so we will regulate them now, and shut them down. So in essence, the fact that Men's Gold was not regulated is the fault of the regulator, who was not awake to their responsibilities.
But I also remember that the Bank of Ghana also kept issuing some notices.
But they're not the regulators.
Yes, but they were warning, essentially, warning the public.
But that's the reason why they were only able to warn, because they were not the regulators. So it's kind of like if you're a customer at DKM and someone in your church was telling you don't invest there. It's a warning, but that will not then mean that once you invest there and the thing blows up, then you don't deserve to be paid back your money.
So your point is what?
My point
we
is
should have
that
extended.
The regulator should take responsibility.
My point is that the reason being given by government for paying back DKM victims, that reason ought to apply to Men's Gold. So maybe there should be a different reason.
But Men's Gold was not regulated by either of the two.
The point I'm making is that the fact that they were not regulated is the fault of the regulator. It's the regulator that was not awake to its responsibilities. Because eventually, when they became awake to their responsibilities, they regulated and shut them down, using the argument that we regulate you. So why were they not there at the time people were sending their money there in droves? You know, so if the reason why DKM customers are getting paid back is because they are regulated, then that's not a good enough reason not to pay Men's Gold. I'm not saying pay Men's Gold. I'm saying maybe change the reason.
I mean, I see the analysis you're making. I was thinking that because Men's Gold customers haven't been mentioned at all, there should be some reason. You can't go silent on them. You have to say something, because after all, you came back to tell us that you had confiscated some of their assets. You know, so we expect something more than just you going quiet on them. That's not good enough.
Well, I get the point, and the two of you are making too. But I'm thinking the regulation also means that you're operating within the remit of a certain law. And for those who are customers covered under that remit, in default, or in the event that the institution with which you're trading or having business with closes down, then the law makes a provision for you to be catered for. Now, you're not under any law and you collapsed, even though that collapse was triggered by the regulator.
They were under the regulator's law when they collapsed, though. Were they not? Is the regulator that shut them down?
Yeah, true. But at the time that
So
they were shut down by the regulator,
based on law.
they were not under any regulation.
They were shut down
Listen,
based
we
on
can
law.
we can find a bit of time because this is interesting. The analysis that we're making on this particular matter, we should talk about it some more. We've got a lot more news though. Just log on to myjoyonline.com. Very interesting headlines we have on our page. But we have to take a breather. We'll bring you sports, after which we'll bring you AM Talk. We've got Roxanne Nelson Dafiamapo, who is a member of parliament for South Dai and the member of parliament for Second D. Andrew Ejapa Mesa, both are also legal practitioners. It will be interesting. So stay with us.